Good to see everybody for another Pick Your Poison tournament cast. Of course, the event organized by Daniela and a bunch of other hardworking folks. Huge shout out to them for putting on this great show. And this time around, we're looking at a matchup from Group H that I was supposed to cast live, but wasn't able to due to technical issues. Nonetheless, we've got the WODs here now, so we'll see how this series went. For the draft, in case you didn't catch it earlier today, this is what we are working with and looking at between these two players. For Ruthless coming in as the lower seed, 12th seed in fact, banning Arabia, picking Arena as their home map, whereas Romulus on the other side, the 5th seed, so quite the heavy favorite, banned Islands and picked Golden Swamp as their home map. Meaning that Nomad is going to be the map in the first game. So with all of that cleared up, we can see the civs picked as well, and the matchups are going to be Byzantines versus Mongols on Nomad, and then if necessary Berbers versus Saracens on Arena, and Incas versus Khmer on Golden Swamp. Now let's hop right into the games, shall we? The first game of the series, as just mentioned, on Nomad. Here we are for this one, and you guys gotta let me know if the audio balance and the game sound are fine or not. Either way, we'll kick this one off with for Ruthless on the left here with the Mongols, and Romulus beginning town center construction right where he spawned with that villager. So that's going to be interesting. It looks like for Ruthless spawned really close together and actually going very similar to Beige earlier today for the 3 villager town center. Now headed on over to potentially drop a dock, I assume. Whereas Romulus only now arriving at his foundation with the 2nd villager to speed up their construction. I expect we can compare the construction here between the 2 town centers. If you look at the bottom, this is pretty much identical speed of construction here, although the Byzantines have the extra building HP. So actually, it is the underdog here with the Mongols, who's a bit, who's gonna have that town center up a little bit earlier. On the other side, though, the dock has went up first for Romulus, so that should even things out, I assume. Either way, that villager got to fishing first, despite, of course, no fishing ship production actually being able to commence just yet. Now, since we're still in the early phases of this game and there's no real action just yet, let's take a look at the Civ Bony that both these guys are working with here. On the right side here, we've got the Byzantines for Romulus. They're, of course, a well-known Civ that we've seen a bunch already in this tournament. Extra HP on the buildings, cheaper trash units and camels. All that is some very valuable assets to have, but also maybe less well known, the cheaper advance to Imperial Age, which is always useful on any map in any scenario, and the faster firing fire ships with the extra upgrade available in Castle Age, by the way, on the extra range. That could potentially also be massive on this map when it comes to trying to deny the opponent's fishing economy. Of course, the docks on this one are quite a ways apart. If we take a look, it's the exact opposite corners of the map from the fishing ship here. But still, if Romulus is able to get over there, he's likely to win out on the fire ship battles. Now, of course, his opponent for Ruthless over here in the west, he's got the Mongols, and that is basically my favorite civilization these days. Cavalry archer civilization, but they've got so much more than that. The hunt bonus is absolutely incredible, so the more of these boars he's able to get, the more of the deer he's able to actually eat. And this is an amazing spawn for the Mongols. Look at this, there's 2 groups of deer pretty close by, and that's the 2nd boar, and even a 3rd boar here at the back. So an amazing spawn in terms of nomad that the Mongols can work with. They're going to be collecting food incredibly fast, and we're gonna see hopefully that pay off for our underdog here. Well, then that's of course not the only bonus that the Mongols are working with. They've got extra HP on some of their cavalry, and the extra line of sight on the scouts as well, which kind of unfortunate on this map. You do not start with a scout, so the extra HP, or the extra line of sight rather, is not going to be all that impactful in that regard. Yeah, other than that, I mean, the strong cavalry archers we already know, and my favorite bonus, of course, drill, speeding up all of your siege workshop units, mainly the onagers. So that is really what we're here for, everybody. If you follow the channel, you can get this beautiful emote that is displayed here on the left side of your screen too. The race car onager. It's a follower emote, so you don't even have to subscribe, which I don't even particularly recommend to me as an inconsistent streamer with questionable Civilization 3 emotes. However, this follower emote I do recommend a lot. And that's pretty much it for our Civ overviews here. Race car onagers, I hope we'll see them, but they're only available in Imperial Age with the drill unique tag, so maybe not gonna pop up here since most of these Nomads games have not gone until into Imperial Age in this tournament so far. I like the luring of the next boar. You wanna keep making use of that hunt bonus. Shoot that one down. Make sure it dies near your mill. Good job with the aggro switch. And that is some efficient food income here. Town center idle times very comparable for both of these guys. Now though, for Ruthless being badly housed, the idle TC time goes up by quite a bit. Puts in a loom here, which he likely wasn't intending to do. That is unfortunate. He had the wood as well, just maybe got a little bit preoccupied luring the boar and thus forgetting on making that house in time. The Byzantines over here are still both of these, well, still way behind in terms of the feudal age is what I was actually meaning to say. Look at the difference here. That is the Mongol Hound bonus working at its finest here. Able to already click up to the feudal age is for Ruthless if he actually wanted to. Looks like he queued up another villager rather. Maybe attempting to go for a direct transition into Castle Age. Gets the beautiful low elo mining camp here. Oh, it's a dream. That is a good early mining camp here. No complaints about that one. Great looking one, really. And he's going to be very happy with that. Now clicks up to the Dark Age, or to the Imperial Age. I'm getting my ages all confused here, guys. To the Feudal Age, of course. The Byzantines still ways away from that, although maybe after another villager should be able to get there too. Of course, it's not really misplay on the side of Romulus. I would argue it's just that the Mongol bonus is that strong. 6 fishing ship for Romulus versus 5 for Ruthless. Well, it all depends, right? How much you invest into fishing ships. They are an incredibly efficient food source early on, because you just don't have a lot of other food income on Nomad, especially. But they tend to be less efficient the longer the game goes on, of course, as your nearby food source or fish swarms get used up. You tend to lose the efficiency there, and then of course you have to protect them as well, right? And if your opponent is the Byzantines with the faster fire ships, it's going to be difficult to hold on to your fishing economy at all times. So not going that heavily into it against the Byzantines is a decision I can I can support. We'll see. Now being to feudal age first, what the play is gonna be, and it's gonna be a straight fast castle for Ruthless, just like I supposed earlier. He's gonna get that one right after Town Watch even. Wow, is that a single villager? Did he even make 2 villagers here in the feudal age? I don't even think so. Might have been just that one extra villager or something. Either way, he's directly on his way to Castle Age before the opponent even hits feudal. Man, that was a proper build here on Nomad. It's not even his home map, and the underdog is already looking pretty good. I mean, Romulus not looking bad himself, has slightly less idle TC time, so it's not like he made any gross misplays, I would say. Now going out to get the mining camp on the gold, I assume. And of course, both of these guys have Town Watch already. Byzantines because they're Byzantines, and the Mongols because they just researched it before clicking up. So that gives some nice extra vision. If we can turn on that toggle here real quick, we see the current vision for the Mongols. They don't see a whole lot, but that fishing ship coming on over there from the east must be a little bit intimidating, and now fleeing with his own fish is for Ruthless, and trying to wall up a little bit in the north here, I see. What's Romulus up to in the east, though? What's his vision looking like? Alright, he's going for the forward outpost. Okay, he really wants some intel on what's going on over there. Overall, has really good vision. He's done a lot of scouting with those sheep. I commend that. That is very important and very useful to do on Nomad. And with the outpost here, let's check that vision as well. Quickly, doesn't know about the stables yet. I don't even think... No, doesn't know about the barracks either, but knows about his opponent reaching Castle Age already. So that might scare him a little bit. A Step Lancer play is something I would really like to see here. And there we go. The Step Lancers are queued up in that stable. And that could do major damage to the Byzantines in the east. Now, if they were able to attack the enemy's fish, that could greatly slow down the production of Step Lancers, because the food is kind of running short here for Ruthless. Still, so far his fishing eco is undisturbed, and the first fire ship is only now getting on over there, and he's not making more. Romulus isn't. I wonder why. Maybe he's just so short on wood that he cannot afford to. He's now gonna get harassed by those Step Lancers, though. He has vision of them, since the Town Watch is, of course, in, and the Step Lancers start harassing the villagers on the gold. Well, you can see they are really tanky, and those villagers, oh man, they do have loom. I thought they maybe didn't, but no. They've got loom. They just melt at the hands of these Step Lancers. Oh, you hate to see it there for Romulus. And the horse armor upgrade doing especially well here for the Mongols player. Actually able to just tank those villagers and inflict some casualties. That's the first villager down in this one. And he's gonna like that. Up to Castle Age, his opponent is now as well. But it's gonna take him quite some time to get there still. And he's fully on the defensive end right now. What are the Mongols going to be able to do in order to push in there? A siege workshop is a good choice. You're so close to your enemy and they can't really branch out, so get a mangonel or two and start chipping away at these buildings. It's a rough look for the Byzantines. The good news is they are able to take out the enemy fishing economy. Mongols not even trying to contest this one. No warships made by them. But the second TC even, that is a good choice here. Not being content with doing damage, also making sure to expand at the same time. It's a really good call. He's still going to be able to wrap around and get into the backside of the Byzantines here. They really need to get these walls up quickly. I don't think they're going to be able to wall all of this up before the Step Lancers are getting in. Or are they? Yeah, they're sending a lot of villagers now. Let's see if everything is walled properly. Oh, it seems they just barely might have been able to get it done, and as they hit Castle Age now as well, Romulus breathes a sigh of relief here, having shut out those Mongol Step Lancers, but it is an awkward look here. Look at this, he's losing even more space now, realizing that these palisade walls, they won't keep them out forever. The answer now seems to be Camel Riders, doing quite well against those Step Lancers, but you need numbers. The opponent has 7 Step Lancers in the field and a Mangonel about to pop out of this workshop. I hope he's got the gathering point set inside. He is not. Oh, he might just lose that Mangonel straight away. Oh, I didn't pay attention to those camels coming over, and that could be a big loss here for Ruthless. He's actually losing that Mangonel. No. Oh, that's so unfortunate. He's hitting houses in the north instead of protecting his siege, and that's so much resources. You typically wouldn't expect this, but that's a lot of res for this point in the game. And look at the eco. You've only got 37 villages. It's not like you're already boomed all the way up, despite having 2 town centers. Lots of idle whiz here, and for Ruthless is kind of panicking a bit here. The villagers idle for quite a while. Still a lot of them garrisoned. Sends them back out to work now. Really needs another farm or two in order to be able to sustain villager production out of 2 town centers. And here come the knights and the camels pushing back the steppe lancers. Man, the Byzantines with their cheaper camels, they're really taking positive trades here. And the Mongol push was halted in its tracks before it even took off. The arrow fire, of course, very effective against camels, so within the bounds of his town center he should be fine. I'm not sure you need to garrison all 10 of your villages in there in order to chase them away. Even camels coming out from the Mongols themselves now. Fighting Byzantine camels with Mongols ones is not an effective trade. I like the box formation there. Something I like to use as well on my steppe lancers. But camels versus camels is not an efficient trade. Maybe he's scared of more knights coming out. There's only one so far for Romulus. Well, I wonder if he's looking to actually take this fight, because with a bunch of steppe lancers he could still trade efficiently. If under the town center, there's no question. What is Romulus doing? Why are we diving in there? What was this? I can't imagine that was intentional. Oh boy, and now the castle comes forward. Ruthless has gained a lot of confidence off of that apparently, and even gets the knight now for free. It's gone absolutely horrible for Romulus over the last 30 seconds. He's thrown away the entire army he had, which was so effective at keeping the Mongols at bay. And now even the last camel is going in there and about to be taken out. He's been able to take out the entire enemy fish. I'm not a fan of Ruthless going into galleys now. I don't think they are going to do a whole lot. But they don't need to, because the castle has gone up here and is denying the woodline in the north as well as the farm space around the town center. The Byzantines are going to have to migrate, and the good news is now the steppe lancers gain a huge value again. Out in the open, the steppe is their home. Are we looking at a potential upset in game 1 already? Winning the neutral map is so important in this type of tournament. And as I always say, anything can happen on Nomad. The next TC is trying to be built up here by the Byzantines. Good job on these house walls, but there's still a hole on the wall. I'm not sure he knows this. Oh, you can always pass through at the ocean. Luckily, the town center was still able to be constructed, so at least he has a backup TC once the one at the front is gonna go down inevitably to the enemy castle. If I'm the Mongols here, I'm thinking about actually going up to Imp soon. Because once I get traps out here, it's looking absolutely dire against these Byzantines. Man, I feel like for the Mongols, if I just have like pikemen, mangonels, and traps, what are the Byzantines gonna do in that case? Or like any front line, mangonels and traps. But I guess you need something against the camels and knights. So yeah, the pikemen are kind of necessary. Still, I think that would be a pretty good army comp at this point. You don't need to invest a whole lot in the mangonels and traps, because they kind of shouldn't die. So I think that would be a good idea. Even just onagers, right, in Imp, then you don't even need to go for siege onager, I don't think. But just against the enemy skirmishes, potentially. Man, and then protect those traps. I feel like that is kind of what I'm looking at here, is going up to Imp if you can sometime soon. He's branched out into a third town center in the bottom here, but the food economy is really struggling there. Losing those fishing ships has not been easy on Ruthless, who is now able to snipe a few fishing ships from his opponent. No fire ships seem to be around, so taking some free victims there. First town center for the Byzantines about to drop here. Overall in eco, we're still pretty balanced in terms of villager numbers. However, the fishing ship's still around for the Byzantines, as well as the fact that the food eco is so weak for the Mongols right now, and he's trying to work on this, drop in more farms, but still, not even horse collar has come in yet, as his town center is getting dove. I'm not sure he paid a lot of attention there. 8 kills on these camels. Oh lord, he definitely didn't pay a lot of attention there. Man, that's some significant losses for the Mongols play, and this game is over by no means. Still, if it goes late and Byzantines are able to sustain, you're kind of always scared of them, and you feel like you don't want to go down all the way with them. Mongols looking scary for sure. Oh, well, Mongols gotta be scared for sure and need to do some more damage. I thought the best way to do that would be by going up to Imp. He thinks a bunch of Mangudai are gonna be the answer. I don't hate Mangudai. They still might be able to win this one in a full-out battle in Castle Age, but what are you gonna do if the opponent starts just going heavy on skirmishes? You're gonna need some siege at that point, and Imperial Age siege at best. Well, would be best, is what I mean. Still some camels trying to raid around the backside, but good attention being paid here by Ruthless. Takes out 2 more. Should have been actually taken care of the raiding with this. And has been able to actually clean up all the fishing ships from his opponent. That is quite surprising to me. The water has been completely neglected by both parties here in terms of economy. It's very plausible that one of them would be able to, at this point, put up a dock somewhere else and start kind of rebooming a bit with that fish. Especially since safe farming space on land can be hard to come by, as we see here. And the Mangudai start coming in. I just ain't sure what I think about those, because here we see the monks already trying to convert one of them. It looks like they are gonna get one here. Good job by Romulus. Man, there's not a lot of Mangudai. I always say Cav-Archers, you need a mass of them in order to make them be worth anything. But Mangudai are the exception to that, in my opinion. Low numbers of Mangudai can still be efficient because they are pretty fast. They fire super fast, and they have huge damage potential, even in not so huge groups. Still, if you want to take extended fights with them against knights or a lot of camels, you're better off using large forces there. And since the food economy has struggled a bit for the Mongols, I think, yeah, if you don't have food, just invest into Mangudai is a fine idea. Ballistics has now also come in. That was the main thing that I was waiting for. Without ballistics, Cav-Archers are difficult to make work, so I like putting that one in here. And I don't hate the decision to go for a longer castle age, because Mangudai are a great unit to play around. He's trying to put up another castle, but how many times have we seen this in this tournament already? Oh no, putting up the castle separate from where your army is at is never a good idea. And you see he's paying with a lot of religious lies for that one. Not able to beat back these camels entirely. And honestly, these camels, I believe, could go in there and force the fight with these Mangudai. Well, I should think twice about that, because the upgrades are really lacking for the Byzantine. So actually he's probably going to lose the fight if he takes it. And now he takes it uphill? Oh, that's not a great choice, but he got a conversion, which is absolutely massive. And so he still is able to win out on the fight, despite fighting uphill and being a bit indecisive about it. That was a good job by Romulus punishing here. And as I said, a bit of a unorganized castle drop there by the Mongol player. He's had a lot of stone. I was gonna comment on that a second ago. He had 1200 stone floating, and this is the castle that he ended up going for, just trying to protect the resources here in the middle. I guess that was the idea. Now takes a lot of damage on that castle foundation, but still should be able to put that up sometime soon. Imp in now for the Byzantines, of all people. That cheaper Imperial Age really is coming to bail them out here, it looks like. And another conversion is going to come in if Ruthless isn't careful. Man, that monk is going to walk forward. Is he going to get that one? I think he is. Although he's taken heavy damage now. And actually is taken out before he can get another conversion. Well played on that one. Castle abandoned, though, for the Mongols play. Actually, I think it was killed, because he has very little stone. I don't think it would have been him deleting it. Puts up another town center now on the stone, and that is a big loss. Not being able to erect that castle here with the control over the major resources that we see there in the middle between these two guys. Ram push coming out for the Byzantines, and honestly, I don't see how the Mongols can stop this one. There's a lot of camels there that these Mangudai are not equipped to fight. 1.6 movement speed on the camels, 1.4 on the Mangudai. So you can see these camels are quick enough not to be able to be outran with the hit and run strategies that oftentimes come out. Or Ruthless trying to use the villages against the rams, but the micro just isn't there at all right now, and he's gonna lose the TC and the villagers, it looks like. Man, another Mangudai converted. It's really starting to look very bad for Ruthless as he approaches Imperial Age. He's behind in economy, he's losing a town center there, and the Byzantines are reaching that point where you're just getting in a camel and trash spam war against them, and it's the last point you want to be at when fighting a Byzantine player. Romulus here had a tough matchup in the early game against the Mongols, who were up so quickly to Feudal Age, even starting with the quicker town center build time, but they've recovered really nicely. That escape to the bottom right corner, good reboom, and actually ahead in eco now. Let's check out the total resources collected in this one, shall we? Very interesting, and you can see 4,500 extra res at this point already for Romulus, and he's pushing on multiple fronts. Defensive castle now coming in for the Mongols, and again, I'm not entirely sure that's going to go up. Probably is, but he's still going to lose the town center here as a trade-off, and I don't think he's got any gold left, does he? No, that's his last gold on that front town center. I think that is a major issue for him. He's getting a few upgrades right now, but he can't afford to make any more units. The only gold units that he's kind of got in queue are these two trebuchets right now from the castle, the original one here at the top, but just trebuchets and some pikemen, I'm not sure that's going to do the job. Still, that is a big part of the army comp that I wanted him to go for, and he still somehow seems to have 2 gold miners that I can't quite find right now. But he's about to lose the second castle here, and I think he's just running out of time. The opponent with the faster imp was able to get out those traps first, and even though there's 2 traps in the castle up north here, you don't have the pikemen in the field yet in order to defend those. So it's looking like there's actually no upset about to happen here. Villagers able to take out the ram, not so fortunate with the trebuchet, and yet more camels coming out. Byzantines doing a great job at keeping that production up, taking out this trap as well, and surely that's got to be the game. Man, it was a great show. The Mongols able to put up a lot of pressure, frankly, early on, and playing an extended castle age, but with the Mangudai, they didn't really do anything there, despite being the usual go-to units for the Mongols. And thus he just gets outpaced and is now in a position where he doesn't control any part of the map anymore. He's not able to mine any gold anymore. And that's surely going to be the death sentence for them, trying to extend the life expectancy of this castle by a few seconds. But those 2 or 3 traps at this point are firing their last salvo. Down is the castle. Is that not going to be it? That's traditionally the point where people call games. So I'm a bit surprised here. As more camels start coming in. The pikemen are going to be good answer, but you've lost all your castles and your gold miners, so I don't think there's a viable way back for you into this, despite having found the correct army comp at this point. Look at those pikemen. They're doing a great job against those camels. Why were they not here earlier when you saw your opponent commit into those camels? And the camels are the only unit that there's upgrades in for the Byzantines for right now. 40 villages ahead though at this stage. Really, I trust Romulus in order to close this one out. He's surely going to be able to, most importantly because he controls 80% of the map at this point. And the eco is very lackluster, I would say, for the Mongols at this point. Still, a good job making the most out of the little army that he's got here is Ruthless as he takes a trap out, which is small victory, but remember the opponent still controls all the gold that's left on the map. Or is there even any gold? Oh yeah, there's the gold down here. No, he's fine. Definitely is. Even the castle to secure, that is a play I like a lot. And despite losing yet more camels at the front against the pikemen, where I'm still not sure why Romulus hasn't adapted to the pikemen coming in. Surely he's going to be able to close this one. He's getting light cavalry now. That is absolutely unnecessary. What does light cav do that your camels didn't do? I mean, they don't cost gold, so I guess nice. But the only thing your opponent has in the field that's causing you trouble is pikemen. Why are you making light calf tax switch when you're dealing with pikemen that are giving you a lot of trouble? Man, Romulus, you could do yourself a huge favor closing this one out much more easily. Instead, you're throwing away a bunch of traps here. Come on, you're in a commanding position. He's using the light calf to just raid, I guess, and take out enemy siege, which is working just fine, but I want to see some different units here if the Mongols aren't going to call the GG anytime soon, which they very well might be. Good micro there. The splits, avoiding a lot of their castle fire, getting those pikemen out of there. I mean, still, how are you going to recover from this? You don't have anything in the field. He snuck some villages around, interestingly. Maybe that is going to be able to make a dent. I'm not sure what he could make, though. He doesn't have any resources to make anything with. So, yeah, I guess they're here now, and they're looking to party hard. Maybe a dock and just put up some fishing eco? I don't know. It's not going to get any more gold, though, and that's the main issue. No eco upgrades whatsoever, by the way. It's unreal. There's no way. He has no hero. He's got like 40 farms. That's like 35 farms, no horse collar. Sir, what are you doing? Exactly. Not even double bid axe. Alright, I mean, your opponent's got all the eco upgrades. What's stopping you? Man, that's huge. A lot of resources that he's lost out on just because of 50 minutes without any eco upgrades, man. That's excessive neglect for eco upgrades. I almost respect the commitment at this point. So elite skirmish is finally in for the Byzantines. Sure, I mean, everybody here a little bit late or a little bit questionable with the army switches. And it was a castle drop attempt of... Oh no, it was a I just realized this. Okay, it was a Byzantine castle trying to secure their flanks. Fair enough. Now the Mongols, the villagers are just wandering through, doing some reconnaissance there. But surely there's no way back into this for Ruthless, is there? Losing a few more villages here. Now they're only trying to garrison them. Still, he's not on gold. Where does... Oh, here he's gold. He's got some gold. Okay. I was thinking the entire time, where's those 2 or 3 gold villages from? That's these ones here in the middle, but that's no sustainable gold income. My guy. Wow. He was able to get in there, actually. And might still be able to get in through the north as well. But still, I have no explanation for why the Byzantines aren't going for any units that counter halberdiers. I mean, a skirmisher mass is fine, right? At least that allows you to defend your trebuchets. But it's questionable. Both parties, I question their army compositions. If I may. Now the GG is called. Finally, man, it was a good fight. Really, the early game was what impressed me the most out of for Ruthless. But he falls down 1-0, and that's a tough battle coming back from that. Against a higher seeded opponent. Game 2 is now on his his home mat, rather. Not his nomad, because that's what we just played. But instead it's going to be on Arena with Berbers against Saracens, if I read this one correctly. So as I pull up this next WOD, let's see if 4 Ruthless can equalize the series and force a third game, or if the favorite Romulus can close it out here. Yeah, that's the draft here. Take a good look at it, because we're about to switch back into the game for game 2, and I'm excited to see how this one plays out. It's an arena game with very unconventional arena civs. Sadly, no race car onagers on that last game. I'm still waiting for the first one of those in the tournament, but well, maybe I'll get lucky someday on that one. No beating around the bush anymore, though. Let's go right into game number 2. 1-0 up is Romulus on his Berbers here, and he's looking to close out the series. And we've seen very little upsets in the tournament so far. The higher seeds have generally won in the first round here. And the other side, for Ruthless, is trying to avoid the sweep here and wants to extend his life in the tournament by winning on his home map here, which is the bare minimum you need in order to, well, want to have any chance. He's picking up, well, he's playing the Saracens, which, I don't know, I've seen a few times on Arabia, or on Arena, rather, interestingly, and if you know them well, if you know how their market works, they can do some very efficient booms, actually. People underestimate that, in my opinion. Before I pull up the Civ stats, I just want to point the attention towards this map generation. The arena map generation has been very inconsistent in this tournament so far. We've got this huge backyard for the Saracens, and this is the entire backyard for Romulus. Look at this. You can fit like one lumber camp in there, and that's it. So it's very weird map generation. And even the relics heavily weighted for Ruthless's side. Maybe it's just meant to be that the series is going to be extended to a third game, but we're still a long ways away from there. And he's still going to need to do some gameplay in order to get there. That being said, though, let's now check out what these civs have in store for us. The Saracens on the left side here, well known, most of all for their market, of course, where they get discounted trading fees and just the cheaper cost of the building itself, making it much more easy to get smooth, fast castle built. And they also have some strong camel units. You can see the 10 extra hit points by default and 20 more hit points if you research the Castle Age unique tag cell tree. Other than that, extra attack on trebuchets and mangonels can be decent sometimes, and the foot archer attack bonus versus buildings is, in my opinion, still utterly useless. Mamluks are a pretty fun unit, though, to play around. I'm not sure they're the best against Berbers, but maybe they're actually a key to this one. If the opponent leans into some heavy knight production, that's of course the dream, so we'll see about that. All the naval bonuses, of course, don't apply on Arena, because there's not even pawns on here. Right side, we've got the Berbers for our highest seeded player, and that's one of the civs I like a lot. I've talked about them at length in this tournament already. They've got fast villagers, fast ships as well, but most importantly, they've got cheaper stable units, and that in Castle and Imperial Age can cause some surprisingly large knight masses. Well, the units that they're most known for, arguably though, are the camel archers from the castle and arguably also the janitors from the archery range. That makes them a very diverse civilization. All they want to make are mounted units, but as opposed to most other civs, their mounted units are very diverse. And so you've got the janitors, which are mounted skirmishers. You've got the camel archers, which are, well, camel archers. And you've got the regular cavalry unit that everybody else has access to. So that's actually quite the diverse army profile you can tack into with the Berbers. You've got a lot of options there. That's why they are a civilization that I like a lot as well, offering just that much more flexibility than most other civs. Now, I don't think this is a clear civ win for either side here. I'm not familiar with this matchup in particular, but oftentimes on Arena, civs do make a big difference. I'm not sure that it really is the case here. So that's just what I meant by that. Romulus got to really scoff at that relic distribution. My man, I would be tilted just looking at this. It's just so heavily skewed against him. I wonder what his plan is, because you don't want to give over 4 or 5 relics to the opponent on Arena, no matter what civ they are playing. And maybe that's gonna prompt him to invest a little bit harder into spearmen or scout cavalry or the like. He's going up to the feudal age first. 23 villages for him. 23 also for Saracens right now, but they've another one in queue, so they're actually gonna go up a little bit later. Both of them I expect to hit very smooth, fast castle builds. I don't see any deviations from that as of now. They both seem to be going for very standard builds in that direction. So nothing to complain about here for me in that area. Yeah, of course being housed not an issue when you're already up to feudal age, but he is just those 20, 30 seconds behind, 15 seconds actually more in that area. So he's gonna be fine with that. And as I said, it more so depends on if you get the buildings up in time once you're in feudal age, and then if you've got the actual correct eco balance, and then you're gonna be fine getting to castle age. So far, no huge blunders, I don't think, on either side. Interesting, the scout behavior. Let's see what the vision looks like. Yeah, I was gonna say, he's not an auto scout. Why was he chilling in that top corner when there's so much of the map still left unexplored? So he hits feudal age first, which makes the scouting also a lot more efficient. Sees 3 of these relics so far, which he can't really like, their position. And the Saracens, on the contrary... Oops. Oh, no. Can the menu please go away? Yep. Also, not a lot of scouting, but they've also already spotted a lot of close-by relics, so that gives them something to play around. Now, both of these guys aren't... well, let's see them click up to Castle Age first, because I was gonna say, are they gonna look for any castle drop shenanigans here? I don't think either of them... I definitely don't think either of them is gonna go for a forward castle. But I also don't really think anybody's gonna go for a castle super early. I expect the focus to be more so on these relics for now, just because they have such a peculiar distribution on this map. Buildings up for the Saracens, excuse me, already. Barracks, stables, and market, very solid choices. But still, we have the Berbers actually going up almost a minute earlier to the next stage. So Romulus so far should be fine with how this game has gone. Notably, though, the Saracens a little bit up in score. I wonder what that would be from. Well, maybe just because they've got another villager. That could also explain it. Either way, I'm really curious to see what both of these guys are opting for, and nobody is on stone just yet. So that's what I mean. No immediate castle shenanigans. And this time around, Mr. 4 Ruthless, getting horse collar, actually investing into some eco-techs. Gotta applaud that one. That's what you call adaptation, rather. Learning from the mishaps of the previous game and immediately applying fixes. So he's gonna like what he sees here. And yeah, if nobody's going for castles, the question is, what is the play here? How hard are they gonna commit to booming? How hard are they gonna commit to the relics? It's really tricky to strike a good balance here, because you don't want to do either while neglecting the other. You need to keep expanding the eco here on Arena. That is oftentimes paramount, otherwise you get overwhelmed very quickly, despite those stone walls suggesting some false sense of security. So far, both of these guys, modus operandi, has just been making scouts. One additional one for both of them, actually. So they're still very careful about the investments that they take. They're not hard committing for anything particular, although, that being said, the Saracens are going towards light cavalry, so that is likely to be the type of unit they want to commit towards. Both of them, again, they're kind of operating on very similar builds. Both of them with the town center drops. Yeah, again, though, the Berbers a little bit faster on that, so good for them. However, they don't have the food economy to back that up. And how many times have I seen this in a tournament already? People, you need your farms up once those additional town centers drop. Otherwise, you can't get the villa production up and running immediately. And despite having that town center up, like, what was it, a whole minute? 2 minutes earlier than the Saracens, they're actually not producing anything out of there. That's the first villager that's gonna come out of this one, I believe. Not sure that's technically correct, but it feels like it. So I really wonder if that is if that was played 100% perfectly there, you definitely want to go for more farms while dropping those TCs, is my point. Losing that monk is unfortunate, and actually going for the forward Townsender there for the stone, realizing that the opponent isn't bringing a whole lot of pressure. The light cavalry upgrade is paying off so far though, for Saracens here, getting some hits in on that scout and even taking it out too. Romulus not paying a lot of attention to his units, losing that monk and losing one of his 2 scouts as well. Still camping there up north for the other scout, and I get it, it's easy to get discouraged when you see that the opponent has such good relic spawns, but man, you gotta make him work for it a little bit harder. I know you're up 1-0 in the series, but you can't let off the gas here. You gotta make the opponent sweat for it, even on their home map, or I should rather say especially on their home map. As the 3rd town center is up for the Berbers, slowly there, approaching the correct eco numbers in order to be able to sustain triple TC production. For the Saracens themselves, they're also putting up a 3rd one while still needing a few more farms in order to be able to keep that up. Overall though, despite the Berbers having been ahead, since the build wasn't as clean, the overall eco numbers are pretty much the same on both sides, with for Ruthless, the Saracen player, having taken the better engagements here so far. The monk went down, so did one of the scouts, and that's the 2-0 KD up for the Saracens. Now, what's the approach going to be? Nobody is mining any more stone. I just have to point out how similar these 2 guys are playing. Both of them investing slightly into scouts, slightly into monks, 3 town centers, no additional stone. It's very similar here, actually. And thus, I wonder, does this favor anyone in particular? And wow, the monk was trying to get that relic back home, but good attention this time around by Romulus. Able to punish, take out the monk, and now able to get the scout into the enemy's economy. Gonna get taken out here pretty quickly, I have to assume, though. Out comes the light cav. This guy is probably not gonna make it out of here alive, while the monk, able to pick up on the job of his predecessor, brings the first relic home. And maybe, if everybody is playing so similar here and doing the same kind of moves on both sides, maybe the relics are actually going to decide the eventual outcome. As we see some more like raids, but maybe just thinking better about it, because that's not typically the type of unit you dive town centers with. Romulus now, with the time he's bought himself on offense with that scout, able to pick up one of the relics for himself, and going to equalize the relics score while Saracens are doing the same thing. So, real quiet game up until this point. Nobody has pulled ahead in any way just yet, I would say. The eco is still even enough, and wow, still at that 3 villager difference. Actually just the same on both sides. Saracens housed right now, that's gonna put them a little bit further behind there in terms of villager production. Definitely wants to avoid that happening again. Look at those houses being jammed in the middle between all those farms here. Conversion not successful, but that scout cavalry getting blocked nicely. That was a good move there by Ruthless. Still only a couple more hits getting in there, and now he's got to be careful not to be converted. I think this conversion almost went through, but just about didn't, and thus it's a very efficient trade in the end for the Saracens, actually able to take out horse and old man with the book, and he's gonna like the way this develops. Let's see, the question is, does he have an eye on the relic up north? That's gonna disappear from the map shortly. There we go, picked up. Is he paying attention there? He is actually. Okay, good catch there. Sending 2 scouts over, keeping 2 over here to escort one of his monks home. He's doing a good job here, although he's going slightly in the wrong way. Okay, he realizes it now. Could actually snipe this monk here, honestly, if he's not being blocked. And wow, he actually manages to get through. Very nice job, making sure he gets the 3rd relic home. That secures the majority of relics, and still able to deny the opponent his relic. Now that is eventually going to go over to the Berbers, unless Ruthless commences some massive push sometime soon. But even with that one going over, you managed to delay a lot of relic gathering time, and you forced him to make another monk and killed one of his. So I like the trades that Ruthless has been taking so far, and that's something we rarely see, that the lower rated player actually seems to be taking the better micro engagements and a little bit more attentive to detail. As I say this, though, he throws away 2 of his horses, so yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to contest the relic anymore. He is going to be able to click up to Castle Age, though, within just seconds. Good lord, what has Romulus been doing? He's got 35 on gold? Unless he's putting up 10 stables and pumping out 50 knights within the next 2 minutes, I have to heavily criticize the eco imbalance there. 3,000 gold. Not even clicked up to Imp just yet. Doesn't even have the buildings in order to click up to Imp just yet. Man, that's gross eco imbalance. Oh, I don't even think this is a bad eco balance, by the way. He just needed to make knights if he was gonna balance his eco like that. Finally has a bunch of villagers on stone, though, so he knows he wants some castles up, because, man, you need some protection at home, and also the option to go into camel archers, at least. Even if you're not going to fully commit to them. Nobody investing heavily into military yet. Everybody been content with that 3 TC boom that Romulus has been able to pull off a little bit more cleanly. However, Imp on the way now for him as well. The eco imbalance there really might have cost him a well, big time momentum and just advantage in terms of uptime. That's now going to be with the Saracens. Tax starting to come in. Finally, we see some military tax, and it is the Saracens committing for horses. No big surprise there. Very little military production building still, but that's going to change in a second. 3 stables up by the Saracens. On the flip side, we've got a siege workshop, and those are just houses. Yeah, I was gonna say those are some weird looking small stables. Just the siege workshop. Well, there's gotta be... Okay, there's 1 stable down here. I finally found it. 1 stable for the Saracens. Also going for camels. Or for the Berbers, rather. Both of them going for camels as of now, it seems. So again, this is eerily similar play on both sides. Camels gonna clash for the first time here. Extra tankiness on the camels, though, for the Saracens. On the other side, though, cheaper camels for the Berbers. So, well, maybe that kind of equals out in terms of army value. Good addition with the monks, though. That's going to force the opponent to run away with theirs, and the castle is going to go up here. Both of them, of course, again, dropping those castles. It is just funny looking at this similarity here. Now, though, Ruthless didn't pay quite the best attention, loses one of his 2 monks. Other one is able to escape and trades for the scouts, I guess. Both castles up at almost the same time. Man, what is this game here? Is an actual mirror matchup without being a mirror matchup. Selfie in, extra HP on the camels. He's going down that path and committing hard. Both of these guys with camels only so far. I wonder, as trebuchets are being queued only by the Berbers, I wonder what Ruthless is doing here. Oh, he's doing salutary still, of course. Still, you need some trebuchets as well, because you know your opponent's gonna start trying to take out that castle. Man, okay, it's getting close here. It's gotta be a bit nerve-wracking there for the Saracens, because if you lose the game, you're out of the tournament entirely. And the opponent is a little bit quicker to all the attacks here. The heavy camel has already been upgraded. Trebuchet is coming out. Even chemistry being researched for the Berbers. I just wonder, at the point where you realize your opponent's going for heavy camels, you're going for heavy camels, does there ever come a point where you say, hold on a second, why not just use pikes, and just a few of them, right? Don't even need to fully upgrade them, just a few pikes in there, gonna make those trades painful, pure pain for your opponent. Especially if you're up in pace on the treb war, that forces your opponent to run into you in your trebuchets. If you've got a few pikes in there, That's got to be much more efficient trades. And at this point, we've got 30 camels against like 15. So Ruthless has the bigger army, is a bit behind on the trap war though. So we'll see if that comes to bite him in the end. Looks like he's gonna choose to try and do something with his camels. It's a bit awkward though. As in come the light cavalry from the west, trying to take out the villagers, repairing the castle. It's a big clash of camels now, but we're fighting underneath Ruthless's castle. Castle fire and the camels flanking from behind. I think it's gonna be an awful trade as the camels evaporate on the blue side here. Ruthless getting a lot of kills now, feeling emboldened to dive underneath the enemy castle and has every right to do so. He's taken out absolutely everything. The enemy trebuchets are under fire too, and the villagers are not the correct response here. Oh, he's losing so much in this attack, losing the castle, the villagers, and the trebuchets. That's absolutely disastrous. Man, it's Saracen camels coming out on top, mainly because he just had so many more of them. Even Bombard Cannon now gonna be taken out without being able to do any damage. Oh, and not even the defensive castle is gonna go up. Honestly, this is a major swing. The economy is still fine for the Berbers, but they've lost all of their army and map control. For Ruthless seems to be having a really good game here. He's dropping a forward castle. He's taking it slow, not overcommitting. Not switching off of camels yet either. Still, you gotta keep at the back of your mind that you might need more than 2 different types of units in this game. Heavy camel and trebuchet is very potent, but maybe be prepared to tack into something different if your opponent throws a curveball at you. So far, the opponent isn't doing that though. We've got 15 heavy camels in queue. Where's all those stables? Oh, it's the stables from the front here. And that's gonna be another big mass here shortly. I just still don't get why we're fighting purely camels against camels. So far that's working out really good for Ruthless, and I love the fact that he's adding more. I mean, not necessarily the fact that he's adding more camels, but at least he's adding more military on the ground, because you're gonna need that. Your trebuchets must not go down if you want to keep this push going. And actually he's a little bit indecisive here, baiting the enemy camels forward, doing a good job just protecting his trebuchets and not getting baited into fights on neutral ground. He's using his advantage really well. 35 kills on his camels, 6 on the enemy's camels right now. You can see how well this army has already traded for the Saracens. And look at the indecision here by Romulus. He doesn't have an answer for the trebuchets nor for the enemy camels. He's just making trebuchets of his own, but we've already seen this story play out. You lose those fights. You're definitely gonna lose out on them. Ah, down goes the castle. He's still got 1,000 more stone, so he could put one up defensively. But it sort of feels like he's running out of time. Now a big clash of camels here, but look at the HP difference. We've got double the HP on the Saracen camels because we've got a few more of them. But mainly, we've got the extra HP on them as well, and that's so difficult to account for when taking these engagements. It feels like this should be the game-sealing fight, honestly. He's taken out the entire enemy army, and it looks as though this series is gonna be extended to a last game. Because I don't see from this point onward what the Berbers really are going to do. If they're not taking into halberdiers or anything either. They're just kind of shell-shocked at this point. Look at this. They're still queuing up the same units. We're just doing the same thing over and over again, or what? Gate going down. At this point, you're open to raiding in all of your economy. Resources not even looking that good for the Berbers. Guys, he's lost the entire map. He's done a great job, by the way. Rebooming a bit, putting up a defensive castle at other points, so to make it really difficult to be cleaned up. The thing is, the reason why I say this game's over already is because he's losing every fight and not diversifying his army one bit. That's the issue. At least he's getting a few conversions every now and then, but man, it's not a way to efficiently trade. 50 camels here at the front for the Saracens, and they don't need to change anything. The fights are going great for them. A little bit weird here, losing a few camels, but taking out the enemy bombard cannon, so the trebuchets are going to stay alive. Maybe a few villagers forward, to repair, but that's not necessary. 100 versus 128 camels, but you can really see that was not enough. Just having a few more of those camels was not all about numbers for Romulus here. And so he has to give up the win on the enemy's home map. Not the end of the world, of course, because now he's able to fall back to his home map, and he's still the favorite in the series. If he plays this one calm and collected on Golden Swamp, I have faith in him to close this one out, but For Ruthless has definitely proven himself to be no slouch either. And in the mirror-type matchup here, actually winning against the higher-rated opponent says a lot. Sorry there, I didn't even see you come in, Silver Python. Good to see you drop by again, though. As we see the series being equalized here. I'm just saying, he should have gone for pikemen even in Castle Age already, when he realized it was going to be camels against camels. And my main point still is, you don't need full tax 100 pikemen. If you just mix 10 or 15 of them in there, then you only need half as many camels as your opponent, and you're saving gold. Just coming back from dinner, great to hear that, and you're right in time for the last game of the series, if you've got time to stick around here. This was the draft. We've seen a very entertaining Byzantines versus Mongols game in game 1 on Nomad. And now we're going to see the decider. Incas versus Khmer. I was super hyped about this matchup, so I'm very happy that we're going to get to see it as well. On Golden Swamp. Basically my favorite map in this tournament from what I've seen so far. Let's boot up that recording and dive straight into it with no more beating around the bushes, because I want to see who takes on this series. 5th seed versus 12th seed in Group H. Both these players, of course, decently higher rated than me, so make of that what you will. But I've been enjoying their games so far. Even the arena game, which I typically tend to hate, especially when they take ages. So let's get in to the decider between these two guys. Romulus against For Ruthless, trying to take the upset victory here on the opponent's home map. That's always, of course, the comfort you earn yourself by winning game 1 is, if you end up losing game 2, you're at least gonna get to end the series on your terms, on your home map. So that's comforting, I assume. Golden Swamp, here we are. I won a tournament game on Incans. Well, I guess I just spoiled it, but I was just gonna say, why not go watch my personal Inca game in this tournament, where I played on Golden Swamp as well. And it was really fun for me. But I was playing it against a considerably different opponent than For Ruthless, so it might not apply one-to-one to this game here. Matchup Incas versus Khmer, very interesting. I always tend to say the Incans have an answer for everything in the game. They're super flexible. The main difficulty for Incas, and why I don't typically recommend them to beginner players such as myself, is that the key difficulty is to just find the right option. And there's always a right option in the game. That is very strong for the Incans. You just have to find it. And that's not always easy. So decision making, very important when playing as the Incas. Now, playing against Khmer, they like to play late game with a lot of ballista elephants. That's the experience I would sadly have had to make a few times on the ladder already, and ballista elephants are really a tough nut to crack. Don't really think the Incans are even that well equipped to deal with that either, because there's just really no good answer for them. So you need to do a lot of damage early to the Khmer, at least before the super late game. And luckily, that is something that the Incans do excel at. They can play heavy pressure Feudal Age and Castle Age, so it's really on Romulus to do a lot of damage. He's the favorite, higher elo on his home map. I expect him to come out of the gate swinging here. Now, let's put up the Civ Bony here for a second. I've already talked about some of them. The Incans, of course, with a lot more population room in their houses, meaning that you save a lot of wood, especially early on. He's still going for a lot of houses that I disagree with. I don't think you should be putting up this many houses early on with the Incans. For reference, check my Incans build on this map. I went for a very different approach. He's going for a very early dock, though, that I didn't do, so the parallels are already end here. Other than that, the free llama at the start just smoothens out your economy, although on this particular map doesn't really change a whole lot. Food isn't typically the problem here. Other than that, cheaper buildings, cheaper stone cost on buildings could be a big one. Castles are a big part of this map, and dropping town centers, castles to secure the resources, secure the middle as well as the flanks and the river or the pond control. So that could be a big one for the Incans. And the cool thing is you can afford to drop a tower as the Incas and still put up a town center when you hit Castle Age without collecting any extra stone. So that's one of the big benefits of that bonus. Other than that, yeah, they've got a plethora of useful units that they can use. Whatever the enemy is using, right? You've got to be ready to adapt when playing as the Incans, and the cheaper food cost on all of their military units, that is the big plus on them, has gotten a buff in this April update patch. So that's really the marquee bonus of this civilization at this point. The cheap eagles with the fabric shield upgrade, making them super tanky as well, can be difficult to handle for the opponents. Now, you're bonding out. Red has not put up a deck just yet. And, well, as I've always said, if you're the lower rated player, don't just play standard, mix it up, bring something interesting. And so not going for any water in Dark Age could be part of that strategy for the Khmer here. Let's check out their bounty real quick, though. We know the villagers can jump into buildings, or into houses rather. So wherever you're collecting resources, if you've got a house or two nearby, that makes it so the enemy is going to have difficulty killing your villagers. It's still an inconvenience, so you shouldn't go into the game expecting to garrison villages and houses, but it's nice to have the option when an unexpected raid hits you. Other than that, not having to drop off food from farms is useful, but not massive, and the ballista elephants are really the marquee unit for the Khmer. Yeah, I think not much more needed to be said about that. Good trade here, actually, against the enemy Eagle Warrior. Why is that scout not leaving? Romulus? Oh, you don't want to give up map control that easily early on. I wonder what he was occupied with that he was not able to remove the scout from there. He's of course got the fishing economy up and running already, while Ruthless doesn't seem at all interested in going onto the water. And, well, I wonder what the strategy is here for the Incas. They're now dropping a barracks. It's curious, really is. They might be going for a bunch of archers. Fully upgradable arbalests are very attractive when playing as the Incans, so maybe an archer play as an opening can't be bad, but he's kind of lost ground here early on, up to feudal age considerably later than the Khmer. Having the fishing economy behind it is going to help, but now this first couple of scouts are already out for the Khmer, and they're going to try and do some damage, while I think there's not going to be a lot of damage to be found. At least Khmer is going to be able to keep their opponent busy. Walling now even are the Khmer as well. Not sure. Typically when you're able to get to feudal age first, and especially when you're going for scouts, you know that you're going to be on the enemy before they can be on you. So really, you don't need to go for those excessive walls, I don't think. But in the long run, you do want to secure your resources. You want to put up walls on this map. So maybe he's thinking better safe than sorry. Better earlier than too late, so I can understand this thought process to some extent. Now, done some good scouting here and resulting in some villager hits. Okay, he's moving around the villager, able to take him out, taking some considerable damage and losing a scout too, but he's gotten a villager kill to start this one off. And this is not how I expected this game to start off, honestly. Romulus here on the back foot a bit with the Incas. He's got one barracks that he's producing spearmen out of currently, because he's forced to respond to the enemy scout rush. And I like also that for Ruthless is not over investing into those scouts, instead protecting himself at home Although not mining any gold yet at all, so it's gonna take him a while to get up to Castle Age. Wondering what the idea is, because he's still not dropping a dock, so he's got to do something. At this point, I feel like, sure, it's a good idea not to make more scouts. I've gotten good value out of the scout rush already, but you've got to have a next step in your plan after this, and I wonder what that's going to be. You don't require buildings to go up to the next age as the Khmer, so, I mean, you don't need a lot of wood if you don't want to. But, for my liking, he's kind of stalling out a bit too much here. Gotta keep the pace up. Sure, you're Khmer and you just want to get to your ballista elephants, I guess. I'm not an expert Khmer player, but that's just how I tend to lose against them on the ladder. Still though, it is a bit slow at this point. Doesn't have the wood for a mining camp right now. That's why he's kind of scrambling a bit to get the wood cutters on over there. Alright, it's a bit rough around the edges, but I like the proactivity. He's trying to harass the enemy fish with his scouts, but that's gonna be... oh yeah, I was gonna say that could be bad. That's gonna be denied by the enemy spearmen, at least able to keep the scouts alive, so that's still some pressure on the map for him. Walls could be decent for the Incans, right? They typically have a lot of stone at their disposal, because of the cheaper stone cost on buildings, but they're still going for only palisades so far. They don't feel as pressured by the Khmer. We have seen some decent knight play out of Khmer players on Golden Swamp in this tourney already, so maybe that's what the Incas are expecting themselves as well for this one. And actually extending the walls a little bit further west, I like that. It is a very easily wallable map at this point for them. Question is, what are both of these guys doing? I was thinking Incas might go for Archer earlier, because they put so many villages on gold, but they didn't end up doing that. So now they're sitting there with 500 gold. Maybe they thought they would have to invest heavily into navy units, right? Because warships do cost a lot of gold, but has not made the adaptation even after finding out that the opponent isn't on water at all. Still a lot of villages on gold, and that is mainly what I'm confused about. Again, the scouts get in and are trying to take out some villages, but just too weak a unit at this point. Doesn't get another unit kill there. Unfortunate for him. Still, that one villager kill at the beginning is all that he got, and now even has to deal with some spearmen at home. Curiously, they got in apparently with the assistance of that of the fire ship burning through the palisade walls, and the Incans are starting to slowly shift the pressure on over to the east. 40 seconds is about the differential here between the uptimes of both these guys. The eco numbers are slightly in favor of the Incas, and that's just the fishing ships doing work. Maybe a good time to compare the resources collected for both guys. Oh, thanks for telling me about the overlay again. Man, I only tend to forget about that when you're here. But it was really good that you told me about it, yeah. Man, I'm so sorry you might have missed out on a few things this game. I'm sorry for that. Let's check the eco numbers here. For 500 more resources actually for the Incas already. Fishing ships really doing work here. And that's what I said for Ruthless. You need to do a little bit more if you're not gonna go for water play. I like your proactivity, but gotta keep being active. Either way, he's up to Castle Age first now, and there come the Knights. No huge surprise there. He's producing out of... Is there 4 stables? It's just 3, alright, but still decent. And Bloodlines coming in as well, making sure that these Knights hit hard too. Just the Spearman there from the opponent on him right now, that's not going to do anything. Middle control for the Incas, with the dock being planted there as well. Just more efficiency for that fishing eco, I guess. Town center gonna be dropped in the middle too, I expect, although the wood is currently not permitting that for Romulus. High stakes matchup here. Winner take all, loser go home. Round 1 of the tournament. And the underdog is still very much in that series. Moving out with his knights now. 4 of them actually, and they're decently... Well, they've got bloodlines, I was gonna say. I thought he had the armor upgrade for the cavalry, but doesn't have it yet. Bodkin arrow research for the Incas, that's a head scratcher. He doesn't have any archers just yet, but apparently he's intending on doing that soon. Maybe it's just doing it for the town center fire, for the galleys, for the castles, who knows. But actually not... It doesn't look like he's going to drop any castles anytime soon, because he's moved completely off of stone, curiously. Knights trying to get in. I think there is a hole there, actually. And there is, so he's able to get into the opponent's eco with the knights. One spearman in his own eco, that's not gonna do a whole lot of damage. And he's back on the gold and harassing the villagers. Romulus did not notice the knight sneaking in, and that's a good amount of villager kills. 3 of them down already here. And the villagers trying to run. Barely able to get out is one of them. But that's a good and efficient raid for the Khmer. Love to see it. The eco numbers are now equalized. And still, a lot of the enemy investment here is on water. And the Khmer are gonna have to deal with that sooner or later. But for now, they are very much content harassing the enemy woodline with knights. I was looking away there because I thought the woodline had been secured. But apparently, Romulus didn't put enough worker moves into the building process. So, not able to get the foundations to enough HP. So he loses a lot of extra villages there. Look at the eco KD, 13-0. That's a lot of pressure, and Romulus gotta be so angry at himself allowing this to happen. He had vision of those knights the whole way across the map. We've seen better players move around the map, around the pond, so to not give the enemy vision of your knights coming in. But even with the vision being available there, Romulus still ended up being caught out by it. And oh, that's yet more villagers moving out from the gold. It looks like Ruthless isn't currently paying attention to that, as he's also being attacked at home and might have to respond there. Also now worried about the middle apparently. But he's going to be able to pick off a few more villagers before being forced to leave here. The spearmen aren't going to be all that scary. And honestly, he could probably just take a fight against these spearmen with a little bit of micro, running the low HP knights around. He's currently not able to do that though, because now he's being harassed by some crossbowmen. So props to Romulus for actually putting that archery range in the middle to some use. And attacking the opponent as well. The eco has suffered heavily under the knight raids. Look at this. Look at this side here. It's actually looking bleak for the Incas at home right now. Those knights have wreaked absolute havoc. I've told you, those palisade walls alone, they aren't typically sufficient to hold up enemy knight raids. If blue doesn't take her monastery, Silver Python suggests red will actually take the game. That could very well be. He's got no answer to the knight so far, and you're absolutely right that a monastery would be a good one, at least as long as the knight numbers aren't all that high, which they definitely aren't up until now. Crossbowman raid is finally going to be able to be routed as well. And Romulus behind 5 villagers with no army in the field to speak of. At least was able to beat the knights back a bit. Doesn't have a monastery up and running just yet. 2 TCs for the Khmer, 3 for the Incans, but no food economy to speak of that would support villager production for the Incas right now. And that's the big edge that the Khmer have. They've got their farms that they don't even need to drop food off of. So, wow, look at this. Look at the disastrous impact that Ruthless's knight raids have had on the opponent's economy. We might be looking at one of the biggest upsets of the first round so far. But Romulus is not out of this one yet. He's still the Incas. He's still got a great amount of units that he's got access to. But as I said in the beginning, it's difficult to always find the right army comp. Oh man. This is really a tough game. I can almost sense the nervousness here of both these players. You don't want to make a misstep if you're so close to advance into the next round. And the pressure of being a favorite in these matchups is no joke. I felt it myself. And I can understand why Romulus might be a little bit stunted here. He's putting up the monastery finally, so Silver Python can sleep well tonight. Monastery finally up, but the main damage has already been done. We see more skirmishing here around the map. Oh boy. It's a little bit like the calm before the storm right now. Both of these guys kind of mentally resetting, gathering their forces back up. It's a decider game after all. And it's still difficult to tell who's gonna take this one home. I'd say the Chimera are in a really decent spot now. But of course, you have to still account for the elo differential between these two. The elo difference, I should say. Lots of knights still in the field here. 11 of them. They are partially healed up. Those aren't really, so maybe could have used some monks himself to heal them back up. I like the forward though. He's gonna drop a castle somewhere. He's got 1100 stone. Maybe didn't necessarily need to save up that long. I thought he might just drop another town center or some production buildings, but he's actually gonna go for a castle as somewhere here. I'm not sure yet where that exactly is gonna be. A lot of gold again for Romulus, just like last game, and just like a lot of players before him on this map. You get baited into taking the middle and using all your villages there for just taking that gold. But honestly, that sometimes can cause gross imbalances in your eco. And Romulus says, why not just go for the jackpot and try to regain middle control now? He's in there with the villagers trying to drop the castle in the middle. This could be the pivotal moment of the game. He's been able to clean up the enemy crossbowmen, but the monk has also successfully converted one of the knights already. This is an awkward fight, but I think Romulus is winning out. The question is, though, is the castle drop really gonna go through, or are the galleys gonna be able to make it go up? He's trying to go around with the knights and stop the enemy castle from going up. That is a good decision. I didn't think initially he was going to find a lot of success, but look at the amount of villager kills, and this castle isn't actually even going to go up. Oh, it's absolutely terrible for Romulus. And the castle is up for Ruthless here. He's going to be able to take out or chase away the enemy galleys. And he's also going to get the middle control. Romulus just calls it off of the castle drop. And what a way to clinch the series in a reverse sweep on your opponent's home map for the Khmer. That is impressive gameplay. No lie here. Really well executed. It wasn't Romulus's day, it seemed like. And yeah, it was tough as well. The initial night raids never found so much success, but you just need to double check if you don't have any holes, and you need to have villages nearby if you have palisade walls to be able to drop houses behind them, because you know they just melt so quickly. But I don't want to take anything away from the Khmer player. For Ruthless takes the series. That was a great ending to a great series. Honestly, all three games were entertaining. No perfect gameplay from anybody in any of the games here by any means. It's not like this was textbook gameplay, but that's what made it so interesting, didn't it? Resource collected overall now even the Khmer's favor. We saw those night raids really turning the tides in the game here, I would say. Man. The villager numbers in the end, yeah, definitely telling their own story here. And the complete disregard for water play did not end up costing Ruthless, just because he was able to inflict so much punishment on land. That's what I like to see. I'm a big land player myself, so always nice to see stuff like this. But man, he's gonna be happy with that series. Able to upset his opponent in the first round here and moving on in the tournament. Sadly for Romulus, he's gonna be out, but still, thanks to him for participating. Was a great series to spectate as well. And that being said, another shout out to Daniela and the organizing team for the event. Check out the link !PYP in the Twitch chat, or the link in the YouTube description if you're watching on over there, if you want to actually find out more about the tournament. Thanks for joining me today then. That's going to be it with my streams today. I streamed like 4 times or something just this Sunday. So I'm gonna stop doing that now, and I'll be back tomorrow. I think I'll definitely cast another 1 or 2 series, I believe. We'll see what the day brings. But for now, thanks for joining me, everybody. It was a pleasure. And the tournament is getting better every single day.